Welcome, 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 everybody, to this week's podcast. And I have a guest with me. I'm going to let Nan introduce herself in just a second. But it's quite a funny little scenario as to why Nan's joining me today, because you used to coach me back in the life coach school days. I always used to try and get Nan, our time zones are very similar. So I always used to try and get you as my coach because I love your coaching style. And obviously, we've all moved on now. So we had a catch up a couple of, well, months ago, actually, wasn't it? Before the summer. And I was like, come and talk to me about everything you do and tell us your wisdom around what you do and how you do it. So I'll let you introduce yourself first.
Right. Well, thank you so much. Yes, and it was also such a delight to have you because I love your energy. I love your accent.
Thank
And it
you.
was always so nice to see you on my calendar. I was always excited. So yes, as you said, I worked for the Life Coach School for 5+ years and
Mm,
coaching all types of people and for all sorts of issues, and it was fascinating. And I actually got into coaching because my main issue was that I couldn't stop eating.
mm,
I was good all day, doing what I wanted to do for my work. I used to be a teacher an English teacher in Paris, and doing all the right things, checking all the boxes. And night came, and I was exhausted. And I thought that the only way for me, now I see it this way, the only way for me to relax, to get some relief, maybe to reward myself too, was to eat my favorite foods. So cake,
mm,
chocolate, cookies, that sort of thing. And I didn't know how to break that cycle because it was not comfortable. In the moment, it felt like, yeah, that's good. But it felt, yeah, it repeated itself day after day after day. And of course, I was not happy with the way I looked, the way I felt. So that's what made me look for a solution. And I found
mm.
life coaching, and that's how my life changed. So I then decided to dive deeper and become a certified life coach, but just so that I would learn more about this. And I loved it so much. And then there was this opportunity at the life coach school. So I clicked, yeah, let's see what happens. Let's, apply, and they hired me. So that's how I met so many amazing people, and had such a blast for, yeah,
Yeah,
for 5+ years now.
nice. And so now with your own private practice,
Mhm.
what is it that you mostly coach on, or who do you want to mostly coach?
Right. So I mostly coach women who struggle with overeating of every
Mhm.
kind. It can be grazing, throughout the day, or binging, as I used to do at night, or
Mm,
not being able to say no to their mum's lasagna or things like that when they
mm,
don't want actually that. And I'm actually very interested in bodybuilding, weightlifting, and so etc. So I'm very interested in those women who do their best in the gym. They crush it in the gym. They hit their macros during the day. They're really proud of themselves. But night comes, and then the fridge, the pantry call their names, and
yeah.
they don't know what to do
Mm.
to break the spell, or the I heard somebody say the voodoo. It's as if they're under like a voodoo doll, and they don't know what to do. So I really help them. I love helping them. Do what I did, which
Yeah.
is, yeah, change that, shift that.
So incredible. And I think the reason why I'm so excited about having our conversation today is because both you and I focus on the emotional element
Mm,
of coaching, don't we? This
absolutely.
is not going to be a nutritional conversation, what you should or shouldn't eat. I think what we're going to be definitely diving into is the, like you say, that kind of that at the end of the day when you're exhausted, I want to feel better. I'll just it's a I deserve a glass of wine.
Yeah.
I deserve to relax. It's a treat. What we don't actually consider is the long-term effects of
Hmm.
that so-called treat, because it's not a treat to feel like shit the next day or have weight gain or
Hmm.
lack of energy. So do you want to speak more about that kind of side of it?
Oh, totally. And I love the way you described it. This is exactly so true, so real. And I like to describe it as a tunnel vision. All of a sudden, all that matters is the moment right now, and we
Mm.
completely forget the impact that we know it's going to have on our body, on our day, the next day.
Yeah.
And I love to think about our brain and in the ways that there's the toddler brain and the adult brain. The adult, the one who wakes up the next morning and feels terrible, bloated, and full of guilt or full of
Mm.
shame and regret. This is the grown up brain who knows that, nope, this is not what we do want for us long term. But in
Mm.
the moment, it's the toddler brain that speaks the most or the loudest. It's just, I want this now. You know what kids can be like
Yeah.
in supermarkets and grocery stores. I want the lollipop right now, or else. And this is actually so true. That's exactly the way I used to feel the moment. Nothing else would matter but the peanut butter or the chocolate
Mm.
or the cake or whatever. And I wanted it right now. And we completely forget what we're going to do. But what I find fascinating is that most of my clients, when they actually manage to break this cycle, this urge, if only
Mm.
once, it's because they think about what's going to happen next. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be in the super long term, next month, or no, it's just in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to regret this. And when they're able
Mm.
to shift from that very moment to what's next,
Yeah.
then they take very different action. And sometimes they close the fridge and they close the cupboard, or
Yeah.
they put the candy jar back on the shelf. And
Yeah.
that's fascinating.
And it's so interesting because sometimes when I'm coaching, I'm actually encouraging people come back to the very present moment. Like,
Mm,
come back to the present moment. Is your life under threat right now? Absolutely not. But when it comes to sugar, we kind of want to do the opposite, or wine or cheese or whatever your go-to relaxation is. It's kind of the opposite, isn't it? It's going, okay, right now, that toddler brain, that primitive brain, I call it Sue, she's
mhm,
screaming at me to eat the whole bag of chocolate buttons.
mhm,
But Nikki, just for a minute, who's learning how to be in charge, and I think I said that to myself repeatedly when I was learning how to get control of my sugar cravings,
mhm.
was hang on a minute. Um, what is going to be the consequence if if I carry on and eat? Well, I am going to feel shit. And then what happens is my teenage brain comes in, and my teenage brain goes, why can't I eat the sugar? Like, why can't? And so then I have to have a conversation not only with the toddler, but
Mhm.
now the teenager, because I'm trying to be the adult in all of this.
Oh,
But
I love it.
isn't it so incredible
Mhm,
when you learn that skill of being okay feeling that urge, how miraculously it does pass.
mm-mm, totally.
I just think that was one of the most, and then we can apply that to any of our emotions,
True.
obviously. But I think for me, that revelation that, okay, I don't actually have to follow what this voice is telling me. I
Mhm.
can be okay feeling the urge and not eat the thing and not die like this,
Right.
and then feel great tomorrow.
Yes. And I get what you're saying. And I love what you're saying about coming back to the present moment. And it's actually what we do if we think about the impact it's going to have. We also can come back to, okay, right now I'm experiencing an urge, I'm experiencing a
Mm.
craving. Okay, what is it like in my body? What was it? Yeah, where is it? What does it look like? And it's also, we can also use that urge or that craving as a signal. Something must be going on right now for me, so that the candy jar, the chocolate, or whatever seems to be so appealing right now. What's
Mm.
going on for me? What seems so unbearable or painful that I need to turn to the
Yes.
chocolate to comfort myself,
Mm.
right? So I love that, because then it goes back to what you were saying. It's just, we can, in the moment, we can let go of this urge by focusing on it, but we can also explore and let go too about maybe the stress. Maybe there's, I don't know, bored feeling or loneliness that we feel maybe at the end of the day, or whenever we want the
Yeah.
food. Yeah, so you're right. It's always also bringing us back to the present moment. Okay, what's going on for me right now? Yeah, and as you said, it can go very fast. Contrary to when we eat, we think it's comforting us, but actually, the reason why we were eating in the first place, whether it's stress, boredom, loneliness, you name it, it's still there. It's just covered with chocolate and cake on top of it, and then we create regret. So it's like the lasagna thing, but not the best kind of. Oh, can't hear you. I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you?
My microphone might have just died. Am I back on now?
You are back on.
About that, everybody. I think I might as well take it off then if it's not working. So if that's the case, the quality may have just changed if you're listening. And if you hear any background noise, that might be my family. But that's okay. This is life. We'll carry on regardless because that's what we do. Um, so coming back to you were saying about, yeah, when we actually learn to deal with manage the stress or the boredom or the loneliness or whatever it is that we're avoiding by eating in the first place. If we don't address that underlying emotion, then all that's happening is now we are going to feel it the next day, but now we're feeling it with a sugar hangover, maybe an alcohol hangover, weight gain, foggy brain. So it's never like we're actually addressing the root cause of the problem. We're just always continuing to cover it up.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes. And that's a realization that took me a while to acknowledge and yeah, and let go because it felt so like really this was the fix. The food was going to fix whatever I was feeling. But
Yeah.
then yeah, I had a lot of opportunities to realize that no, you feel worse the next day. So even
Yeah.
if in the moment it seems like the best solution, look, it's not. And
Yeah.
also, I realized, going back to the present, as you said earlier on, I realized that what I thought was amazing, it tasted so good, etc. When I took the time to slow down, actually, it was not.
Yeah.
It didn't make me feel better. It was more the idea I had of,
Mm.
okay, if I eat this, then I'll feel better, than the reality of it. And
Mm.
it took for me to slow down and really focus on what I was eating and what it was feeling like in my body as I was eating it to realize that no, you think it's making you feel good, but actually
Yes.
not that much. So,
I did that exercise with pizza.
mm,
So I pizza's something that I thought I really loved.
yeah,
And then I really consciously one day sat and very, very consciously looked at the taste of pizza, how it felt in my mouth. And I was like, this actually doesn't taste that nice. This actually isn't all that it's made out to be.
mm-mm,
I have to admit, I haven't quite got there with croissants yet. And being in Paris, I mean, you must just be surrounded by beautiful food everywhere. But isn't it fascinating then, on that comment that I've just made, how beautiful we instantly go to processed? Whereas actually, the reframe of beautiful could be, natural, homemade everything's,
mm-mm,
rather than going to like I just went to croissants and pizza. But yeah, it's so fascinating.
right. And you're right, there are croissants everywhere in Paris.
Yeah.
And even at the bottom of my building, there's a bakery. So you
Yes.
can't avoid them. So that's why I really needed to learn what to do so that I wouldn't stop at every bakery in Paris and
Yeah.
just stuff myself. So it's really a good skill. And yes, and it's so fascinating to see that, yes, indeed, we tend to go towards processed food and food with lots of sugar
Mm.
because that's where the dopamine comes from. And
Yes.
but I love that also we can reduce. It's just like turning down the volume on the remote control on the TV. We can turn down the attraction, the desire, the impulse, the urge, the craving, however you name it, for a type of food. And that's what I actually did with croissant
Yeah.
because I thought, oh, so good, croissant, pain au chocolat, chocolate bun. Um, I thought that was really good, but then when I slowed down, I realized, no, actually, I don't feel very well after eating them. So that helped. That really helped me
Mm.
stop craving them as much. And now I realize that I still like chocolate. I still love chocolate, but not any chocolate. Now I'm very picky. It has
Yes.
to be this dark chocolate with cocoa nibs from this particular brand. Otherwise, no, thank you. So
Yes.
easy to turn down food now, even at restaurant when everybody's ordering dessert. Just like, no, I'm usually very disappointed about the dessert that I get. So I know exactly what I want, this particular square of dark chocolate that
Yeah.
I can have at home in my own time, really savoring it, rather than this in this restaurant. No, it sounds good, but I get
Yeah.
disappointed so often that it's not worth it.
Yeah, I love that you said that about the dark chocolate because so in England we've got Cadbury's. I mean,
Mm,
they probably are international, but I hear from my sister-in-law in Canada that it's definitely not the same if you do get Cadbury's abroad. But um, I used to love, especially chocolate buttons, um, especially with a sweet called squashies that are like these pink and white gooey jelly sweetie things. Um, but now. It's for a start, it's too sweet, which blows my mind. But I do really love a good quality dark chocolate. For me, preferably mint. I love peppermint and chocolate together. I've just started making my own dairy free, actually, sugar free. Oh, my gosh,
mm,
it's delicious. But I have to not tell my children I've made it, otherwise they eat it without savoring it. I'm like, no. But it doesn't make me feel shit on the other side. I can have it and still feel good.
mm, mm,
That's a treat. Like when your body is feeling good, that is a treat,
mm.
not when it's feeling shit. So I'm curious, when you're coaching your ladies, have you noticed if there's a bit of a self-relationship issue as well underneath all of this? Now, you said most of your ladies are doing the right thing during the day, they're going to the gym, and yet they can't quite figure out this binging in the evening or however, whenever they do it. Do you see that as a relationship issue with
Mhm.
themselves as well? Like, so for me, is that we look after the things we love. We don't
Mm.
look after the things we hate. Not that I hate is a really strong word, not people,
Right.
many people
Nice.
would use that, but
Mm.
I wonder if that ties into all of this as well.
I think it does. I think you're onto something. Yes, I think it does. Because, well, what we tend to do is when we don't do what we think would be best for us,
Yeah.
we tend to beat ourselves up.
Mm.
So that's very common that those questions, I shouldn't have eaten that. What's wrong with me? Why did I do that again?
Yeah.
That we're being furious, we're using the stick instead of the carrot, just because we think that if we beat ourselves up enough time, then we'll understand, then we'll change our behavior. But actually, what I've come to notice is that it's the complete opposite. When
Yes.
we're going to beat ourselves up, we don't want to be curious, we don't want to be kind, we just want to ignore the whole issue.
Mm.
And so we actually unwillingly keep doing it. And yes, and as you said, it kind of destroys our relationship with ourselves because we keep, on the one hand, beating ourselves up, and then on the other hand, mistreating our body without knowing how to do
Yeah.
it better. And maybe you're right. Maybe at the very beginning, it's also something about, I don't, maybe it's not a hate issue, but it could be. But maybe it's, I don't know how to treat myself to feel better. Because if we consider it, we've been taught from a very young age that whatever emotion we're feeling, food is the answer. If you
Yeah.
scrape your knees, well, have a cookie. You don't know what to do, well, have some, I don't know, candies or something. And food is also what we do when we want to celebrate. So it's very linked to, yeah, feeling good equals food, eating food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would make sense that we try to solve our emotional
Mm.
issues or life
Yeah.
with food, and then we perpetuate this, and then the more we do it, the more we blame ourselves for doing it, and it's just like sinking in quicksand. It's just harder and harder to get out of it and to build that better loving relationship with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It can
so
be taught.
true. Yeah. And then what came? What came first for you, the bodybuilding or the food?
Mm, definitely the food. Definitely the food. Yes. Although I had always dreamed of, looking strong, looking good, looking fit, but because I was binge eating so much, I had no results. I couldn't
Mm,
see muscle definition, so it was so easy to give up. But yes, I needed to start. I needed to, tackle my eating first, so that then I could think, okay, now I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to see, the body I want to see, and also learning the skill to stop eating whatever was inside taught me that I could trust myself to
mm,
want to do something and to actually do it. And that was huge. And you can
yes.
start very slow, just a tiny thing. Like the other day, I was running and I challenged myself, okay, can I sprint until the next tree? And I did.
Yeah.
And can I sprint until the next mailbox? And I did. And it's just, giving yourself some very tiny, doable challenges like this, it builds your
Yes.
self-confidence. It's the very same with food. It's the very same when you lift weight. Can I lift that just a little bit more? Can I lift? Can I do one more rep? Can I load a little bit more on my dumbbell? And
Yeah.
it's just, okay, can I challenge myself to wait for just 1 second before I actually get the cookie? Just
Yeah.
that's how we build confidence, trust with ourselves, and that can grow. It's just like a snowball. It's just, okay,
Yes.
first maybe you need to think to take the snowflakes one, and but after a while it just falls on its own and it's easy.
Yeah. And that's so good. So that lesson right back at the beginning, what we were saying about, right, okay, think about the consequence of this. Like
Mhm.
instead of just going with it in the moment, think about 5 minutes from now or tomorrow morning. Exactly the same applies to going to the gym, doesn't it? Okay, I don't want to go now, but how will I feel 5 minutes once I'm there? Okay, well, I might just be starting to get into it. Well, how will I feel tomorrow morning? Amazing, because I did something that I said I was going to do. And then there's all the physical elements attached to it as well. So the same skill when practiced applies to both of those, doesn't it?
Totally, totally. Yes. And I love, yes. How will I feel when I've done it? Well, I know that a very common emotion that comes up for my clients, but also for me, is proud. I want to feel proud of myself. And it's easy to feel proud of yourself when you give yourself very tiny challenges, just like, can I
Yeah.
just put my sports shoes in my bag? Yes, okay, check.
Yes.
I've done it. Amazing. And you can on purpose create that pride.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's super fun, and then it really is going to spread, have this ripple effect on the whole experience.
Mm.
That's so much fun.
Yeah. And then we get dopamine from that.
Mm.
And then that dopamine that we get, because dopamine is a motivator. So if
Yes,
you're getting your dopamine from cakes, chocolate, wine, whatever, you're going to continue to be motivated. Whereas if you're getting your dopamine from the celebration, you're going to be more motivated towards that behavior.
yes.
And then that dopamine grows. But that dopamine enhances your life versus the dopamine that you get from chocolate or wine
That's
reduces.
what I was going to say. Totally.
Yeah.
Yes, one gets you closer to a happier life, life that suits you, that matches your desire, and the other one keeps you stuck in an endless cycle of,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't get out of it. So
Yeah, so interesting. So if you were going to give, I think you've already covered it, but if you were going to give one tip for
mm.
someone to whoever's listening to go away and practice this afternoon, what would you say that would be?
Ooh. Well, I think the best tip that worked for me and for so many of my clients is to be curious, not furious. So, what we were talking about, once you've eaten something you didn't mean to eat, but it seemed irresistible at the time. Try to be curious, not furious. And by that, I mean, instead of, oh, why did I do that again? And what's wrong with me? Try to ask the curious version of why. It's just, oh, I wonder why I did that.
Mhm.
And so it's the same word, why, but with a totally different intention, totally
Yeah,
different tone. And that's going to help you open up and explore. And okay, what was going on for me? Why did I do that generally? What can I do better next time?
yeah,
Even if it's just a tiny thing, instead of why did I do that again, which is a dead end. Once you've said that, you just feel terrible and it
yeah,
doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
So be curious, not furious.
I love that. I've never heard those two put together, but it goes beautifully, doesn't it? Be curious, not furious. I might take that into my coaching if I may.
You're very welcome. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. So is there anything that we haven't covered that you think is relevant to helping people overcome like the
Mhm.
binging and the food cycles?
Right. I think that maybe well, maybe what's relevant and what's really important too is to have a vision. It's like when you start to drive a car, it's
Yes.
the goal is not just to drive, is to get to a destination. So maybe thinking about that, who you want to be, what you want your life to be like,
Mhm.
that could be super fun first. And also it's going to keep you focused on, okay, this is what I want. So for me, it was, I want to be strong, I want to be fit. I've got a 106-year-old grandmother, so that's the main motivation
Wow.
for me. I want to be as strong as possible for the longest time possible, considering
Yeah.
my genes. We'll see. So
Yeah.
that's my motivation. And so, yeah, I like to ask my clients, okay, what do you want? And this motivation is super important, but because when it gets tough, and of course, unfortunately, it will from time to time
Yes.
for endless reasons, you want to go back to that reason why, or those reasons why you're doing this. And I like to think of it in two different ways: what you don't want and what you do want. So for instance, what you've experienced in the past, maybe it's back pain, maybe it's not fitting in your jeans, and you no longer want that. But also what you don't want in the future, maybe it's to get diabetes or diseases like this. That's not fun. And what you do want instead. So feel good in the moment, learn how to manage an emotion in 5 seconds, one
Yeah.
minute, and that's it. Let it go. And what you do want in the long term, which is, yes, maybe not react whenever there's a plate of brownies in front of you. And maybe it's also to have an influence on the people around you, maybe your kids,
Mhm.
maybe your partner, maybe your friends, and show them that yes, it's possible to change, because lots of people don't think it's possible for them to change. So having you as a change, as a picture of change, that can be so inspiring.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? And I think that kind of leading by example is so
Mm,
very powerful. Like influencing someone because you've done it and showing them a way that they could also do it without judgment, I think is really it's inviting them to take up the opportunity also, isn't it?
totally, totally, yes.
Yeah,
Giving
I
them
love that.
hope that it is possible.
Yeah, yeah. And I think what's really fascinating, especially around sugar particularly, because I think if well, I suppose when I've given up alcohol as well, and that has bothered me not because I wasn't a huge at home drinker, certainly. It was just when I was ever out. So that I found that really easy to give up. And I don't really ever get any questions. When I say, oh no, I don't drink, no one really ever questions it. But when I say, oh no, I don't really have cake, they're like, what? What do you mean you don't have cake? Like society finds it difficult to accept that
Mhm.
someone doesn't eat cake. And yes, I do have, croissants on occasions, but even that's not, it's certainly not even a weekly or monthly occurrence. But it is fascinating when you say to someone, "Oh, no, I don't really eat chocolate or I don't really eat cake." They just, because we've been so conditioned that it's a treat and a luxury and it's going to make us feel better and all the conditioning that we've had, how society find it very hard to accept that that could be a possibility for them. So when you then sit there and don't have a dessert when you're out with your friends and you don't die and you feel better the next day, that maybe just might give them the opportunity to go, ah, okay, well, maybe I could do that.
Yes, totally. No, I love that. And yes, we don't die from not having a piece of cake. Fancy that.
I know, so funny. I always love looking at it like in that moment when I like when Sue wants the chocolate or she wants the cake or whatever it is, and with the croissant as well. I just have to remind myself like having not having this food is not life threatening.
Mhm.
not having this food could actually be a life enhancing moment. So we
Mm,
don't really need our toddler primitive brain's opinion. We don't need to really take it into account because right now, this is not a life threatening scenario. That primitive part of our brain is brilliant when we are, but choosing what we're going to eat, actually, we want our higher wisdom and
mm-mm.
our knowledge and that part of our brain because what we eat is life enhancing. And if we continue to eat all the sugar, drink all the alcohol, we're not going to be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah, totally. No, and also what when we actually eat something and we think it's so important to have it right now, I like to remind myself that actually tomorrow I've completely forgotten that I had this. So will it really matter in
Yes.
the long game if I have it or not have it? And it's easy then to let go. Just okay, yeah, as you said, I'm not going to die, and it's not going to change my next day or next week very much. And also, I've realized that when I'm having the food, very often I disconnect after the first three bites. I disconnect and I think about something else, maybe having more, maybe
Yes.
something completely different. And so, if I'm not really enjoying it, fully mindfully, as we do, then
Yeah.
is it really going to be worth it? And it's really
Yeah.
asking myself that question: is it really worth it if
Yeah.
I'm not completely present with it?
Yeah.
And then it's easy to think, oh no, I can do without it. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So good. So good. So if people want to find you, how do they do that?
Well, they can find me on my website, which is www.thecravingscoach.fr. So cravings with an S
Yeah.
and .fr because I'm in France. And they can also join my free webinar, which is on Tuesday, every
Mm,
Tuesday, and which is around how to stop binging at night and why we do that, and of course, how to break the cycle. So you're very
brilliant.
welcome if you want to join this free webinar. It's going to be super fun. You're going to
Yeah.
have lots of aha moments.
Brilliant. Oh, I love that. We'll put all the links in the show notes anyway, so people can just click on the link to find you. And what I think is brilliant with Nan is that whilst you can hear that she's French and she lives in near Paris, a lot of what you teach is virtual anyway, so you don't need, it doesn't matter where in the world you're listening from, Nan is available to you should you resonate with her.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the internet. And yeah, we can go anywhere in the world. It's just, and English. English
Yeah.
really helps. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been so lovely to talk to you and hear your wisdom around, yeah, food and emotions.
thank you so much for having me. It was so fun. So
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you so much. And we'll see everybody, or I'll see everybody next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.